Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com, and today's customer service video question of the day from Quora almost seems like it was written especially for me. I don't know if it was or not, but the question is, what does 80/20 mean in a call center? Well, what does 80/20 mean in a call center? Pretty much nothing. Almost nothing at all. I'm guessing most people working in a call center environment, managing a call center environment, middle managing, micromanaging, piss break timing, any of these vital functions in a call center environment probably are pretty much unfamiliar with the term 80/20. It's certainly not something that has any bearing in their mind to their business, or if you want to call it a business, and certainly not something they're actively engaged in. Because, as they would quickly see if they started down this line of thinking, 80/20 thinking, 80/20 customer service, what I specialize in other words, is a direct and existential threat to the conventional customer service environment, and especially to the call center environment. Now, we've all had to deal with call centers at some point in our lives, maybe this week, maybe today. Maybe you're on hold with one right now and you're scrolling through Quora while you listen to their silly music. Your call is important to us. It's not. So anyways, what do you get? What's a conventional call center like? Well, it's a big warehouse somewhere. I know I worked in one years ago. It's a big basically warehouse space, usually in an office building, but just stripped out and filled with the barest cubicles, old cubicles. They've been sitting there for a while. Big rickety phones this big with headsets plugged into them, desktop computers chained to the desk with a chain because someone's going to steal a 6-year-old desktop computer, something, I don't know, and filled with unhappy, miserable NPC people in business casual approved clothes. Low-priced khaki pants, tucked-in polo shirts, that whole thing. They're not happy. They look kind of pale. A lot of them are kind of overweight. There's coughing. There's a bit of sickliness to the air. And nobody really wants to be there. Why? Because they are constantly busy. They're plugged into a headset, and when a customer calls, beep, beep, the call is live, and they're there talking to this person. And they know that this person is going to be asking a question that they've answered hundreds of times already today. And they're probably going to be upset about it after going through the whole automated system bullshit process, and they're not happy about that at all. They also know that someone is listening, someone is monitoring them, and they're going to have everything they say analyzed, scrutinized, nitpicked about, and they'll get a report on it, and if it's bad enough, they'll have to talk to the boss. If they need to pause their work for a moment to go use the bathroom, someone's timing that piss break. They tell them when to show up, they tell them when to eat, they tell them when or if they're allowed to leave, and it's that kind of environment. The customers that they talk to, they're not simply in charge of fixing things or handling problems or doing things for the customer. They're in charge of following the procedures guide. There's this guide that tells them if the customer asks about this, do this. If they ask about this, do this. If they ask about this, do this and read this script. Then they have a list of scripts over here that they read from. And those scripts are written by teams of middle managers sitting in a windowless conference room somewhere with a PowerPoint slide. Hey, let's add a paragraph about our valuable service award we won 6 years ago. Oh, good idea. 80/20 has nothing to do with this. Now, what would this call center look like in an 80/20 world? Well, ideally, it would look like an empty floor in an office building, with the lights turned off and the desks stacked up and the cubicles taken apart and piled up in the corner. Why? Because most of what call centers do, we've already kind of gone over this, is essentially handling repetitive tasks over and over and over again in an inefficient but standardized way. Basically, turning human beings into NPCs that follow a program and bang out the same repetitive replies over and over again. I would be happy to help you with customer's problem today. Mr. Customer's last name. May I first verify a bunch of unnecessary security questions before I can give you some general information that I'm reading from a script. There's nothing 80/20 about this. Why? Because these people all have the same problem, and all of them, when they have this problem that comes up dozens, hundreds, thousands of times a week, are forced to pick up a phone and dial a thing and wait on hold and do all this stuff to get a hold of this NPC who puts them through an elaborate process just to read and answer off a script. An 80/20 approach is would see this and say, all these people are asking the same question. What can I do to make sure this question never gets asked again? How can I make this information more clear? Or if it's a problem, if it's a request, how can customers do this themselves? How can we fix this so this never happens again in the future? That'd be an 80-20 approach, and that pretty much kills the majority of the call center. It should kill the call center, but it kills the majority of the customer service complaints or questions or issues that you might be dealing with. So what's left there? There's going to be something. You can't prevent all customer questions, all problems. Sometimes there's a real problem. Sometimes people just don't understand and don't read. But 80-20 says, you've got better things to do, I've got better things to do than wait on hold and go through this whole ridiculous process. So give people an easier and a better way to get their issues resolved. If I have an issue with a company and I go to their contact page and it says, hey, send us an email or fill out this contact form, someone will get back to you within X number of hours with a resolution to your problem. Now, if I've dealt with the NPC model, the conventional businesses a lot for years and years and years, it's probably been trained into me that everything that a business says, especially that a customer service department says, is a bullshit lie, trying to cover their own ass, and that no one will get back to me. But assuming that I haven't been emotionally scarred from years of dealing with conventional customer service, if they say, fill out an email, let us know what you need, we'll have this taken care of for you within X number of hours, and I believe them, and I fill out that form, and the thing's taken care of within that number of hours or less, and I get an email back saying, hey Mark, we took care of everything here, sorry about that, we fixed it, this is what happened, and you're all set now. Good. That took 30 seconds out of my day to send that email, instead of 30 minutes plus waiting on hold, pressing 47 for English, yelling, representative, 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 at a phone system that says, I understand you'd like to speak to a representative, but please tell me more about what you're calling about today. One moment while I look that up. And then it plays a typing sound because it thinks I pretend it's a computer, or it's not but it's a real person. It's like, no, there's nothing 80-20 about a call center. And if a business starts looking into an 80-20 approach to customer service, to customer satisfaction, because ideally, customer service is not what you want to be good at. Customer satisfaction is what you want to be good at. And if your customer satisfaction is good enough, especially in a modern online service-based or even product-based business with shipping, customer service is not something that most customers should ever be dealing with. If they're dealing with customer service, their satisfaction is automatically lower than it should be. That's how it works in an 80-20 world. But people in a call center world, that's why this is a threat to them, because if the company implements these sort of things, at first they won't need as many people in the call center. Maybe they'll do some things and they'll get lower complaint volumes and they'll have lower call volumes and therefore need fewer agents to work in the call center. Sure, that's fine. They're NPCs, they're disposable, get rid of them, who cares? But then you get rid of enough agents and then you have too many supervisors. It's like, well, now we got to get rid of some supervisors, but they're basically glorified NPCs anyways. Yeah, get rid of them. But then you don't need as many managers to manage the supervisors. And this is where the people who have some decision-making power, these are the people higher up the chain, they're going to resist this. At some point they're going to say, yeah, if we have fewer calls, that's good. We don't need to pay as many people below us to do these things. But when it gets to the higher levels, the people making those decisions, they're going to kick into survival mode right there, and they're going to try to save their own asses. And that means putting the interest of the customers behind the interest of themselves. Just how it works. Not everyone's going to do this. Someone might be more honest, altruistic, whatever you want to call it, and say, honestly, this whole thing we're doing is pointless. Let's shut this down, find something else for these people to do, including myself, as much as possible, but really there's no reason to do this. But others are going to say, if I follow this logical chain of thought, these people are all going to lose their jobs. I'm going to lose my job. Yes, the company will save huge amounts of resources that they're pouring into this call center world, but I could capture some of those resources for myself. I could take them as a bonus. I could make up a bullshit efficiency metric and say, look, we handled 8,000 more calls this week than last week. That's really good. It's not good. It means 8,000 more people had a complaint or a problem this week. not good, but you can say it's good, you can present it as good, you can talk to other no skin in the game middle managers and get yourself some raises and bonuses and things like that for as long as the thing goes on. This is how it continues to spread and get worse and just continue to drag down the quality of customer service and customer support, customer satisfaction, I should say, in this country and in the world. The alternative, of course, is 80/20. The alternative is not appealing to these big, entrenched bureaucracy organizations of customer service because it would necessarily, if not destroy them, it would severely restrict them, and it would result in many of the rent-seeking middle managers no longer being necessary in that role. They're not necessary, but it would make that fact clear. But this video isn't really intended for those companies. They're not going to change this. They're not going to sit around watching a guy at his kitchen table talking about this stuff. So really what this video is for is anybody out there, any of you in business, anybody who's starting an online business, selling a product, selling a service, whether it's a simple side hustle thing up to multi-million-dollar businesses. This stuff works. This is what I do. This is what I help clients with. It's a novel approach. It's a unique approach. It's a simple approach by definition, 80/20. Simple solution to a complex problem, which is, the more you think about it, how it really needs to be, rather than a excessively complex solution to a relatively simple problem, as the call center environment tends to be. This is why I do these videos. This is why I write about this stuff. But that's really my answer. What does 80/20 look like in a call center environment? It looks like shutting down a call center environment and preventing customer problems as much as possible and handling them in a more efficient and effective and respectful way when and if they do actually come up. Whether that includes taking calls by phone or not is up to the individual business. I think it doesn't usually need to, but depending on your client base, depending on your product or what you're selling, you may choose to do that. But the conventional call center approach doesn't really fit into the 80/20 model much at all. So that's all for today. I'll wrap this video up. As I've said here many times before, I do one of these videos every weekday on a customer service question. I've been taking them from Quora. I post the videos on Quora, also on YouTube. So if you have a comment, a question, a customer service question, ask me on Quora, ask me on YouTube. I may use it in a future video. I also write regularly on business and customer service topics, both on Quora in response to questions and on the website 8020service.com, where I talk about all this stuff and more. I also have a guide there that you can check out if you're interested in this stuff, if you're setting this up for a business. Shows you exactly how to do it, my entire system, everything I do. So you can check that stuff out there as well, or contact me if it's something you need additional help with. Otherwise, I'll wrap this video up here, and I will be back tomorrow with another video.